All right, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. All right, I think we fixed the
volume,
the sound issue. Hopefully, let's see. Everybody knows David. Everybody in the YouTube chat are already screaming for David to come fix it for us. I think somebody just changed the settings on it. So anyway, here we go. Take 2 of MMA Talk. And so again, quick introduction. Randy McCarthy, who had a fight last weekend. Unfortunately, didn't go the way he hoped.
For the most part. For the end of it.
Yeah, the end of it. And then Isaac Nunez, owner, operator, coach, trainer, all-around good guy over at Gorilla MMA. Isaac's the one who trains me, actually. And so, Isaac, give a quick rundown of your mixed martial arts background.
All right, so like I said, I started traditional martial arts, but I ended up doing boxing, kickboxing, and then MMA kind of came out onto the scene. Got into that, started training actually Bushido, which was one of the first schools here in El Paso. Trained there, turned pro there, and just kept fighting. Trained all over the place. Trained with Red Spider under our coach Daryl, and then just ended up opening Gorilla MMA. And
how long has Gorilla MMA been around?
5 years.
5 years. This is your second location. You were in a previous location, right?
Yes, sir.
And now we're located out in Sunland Park.
Yeah, by the casino down the street from the adult video store.
Yes, the adult video store.
Victory Lane.
So okay, so for the classes at Gorilla MMA, like I don't do the actual classes. You know, I pay the extra money. But what do you have normally? Like Mondays, Wednesdays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, if people want to come out to Gorilla MMA.
So all kids' classes start at 5, and we basically just run a 45-minute class, and it's everything: boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, everything. We compartmentalize the classes for the adults. So Monday, Wednesdays at 6 o'clock we have wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and our groundwork. At 7 o'clock on Monday, Wednesdays we have kickboxing, Muay Thai, more stand-up stuff, but we incorporate every style of striking into that class. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 we have boxing for the adults, and we have fighter practice and sparring for these guys, and they train at 6:30.
And if anybody wanted to contact you about coming out there, what's the easiest way to do it?
You can go to our Instagram page at Gorilla MMA, or you can contact me in 915-920-0517. That's the business phone.
One more time?
915-920-0517.
All right, give them a call. You can come hang out with us. We're good guys. We have fun.
Yeah.
And you can laugh at what we do, or at least what I do, because I look like an idiot doing it.
That's not true.
Okay, so anyway.
That's like an idiot.
Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was the Canelo Triple G fight getting canceled. That kind of took a back seat over the past 24 hours.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so this is, okay, follow me. I'm going to try to give a synopsis of what happened with the Khabib-Ferguson fight. So it was supposed to be Khabib-Ferguson up until
a week ago.
Yeah, a week ago. Ferguson got hurt. He tore, was it his ACL? LCL, that's what it was. So he tore his LCL, and so he's out. So then they bring in Max Holloway, who had to cut weight to try to make weight, and it was apparently too drastic, which is then why they came out and said, you're medically unfit, we're not going to allow you to fight. So then at that point, the UFC is trying to figure out who are we going to have to fight Khabib. Well, thankfully, Conor McGregor throws a fit, throws a truck dolly into the bus window, cuts up some guys' faces. One of those guys was Michael Chiesa, who was supposed to fight Anthony Pettis, but now since Chiesa's all cut up, Pettis, they're now hopefully going to have taking on Khabib. First and foremost, we'll get to the McGregor stuff in a minute. Does Pettis have any shot in this fight?
He's a very talented guy. Of course he does. He doesn't have a great shot. I mean, he's stylistically, he's matched up against a guy that is not going to allow him to breathe and move well like he normally moves. If he's able to step back and keep his distance, he's a very dangerous guy. But whenever you have a guy that grinds like Khabib does, it's going to be hard for him to get anything off.
What do you think, guys?
Yeah, he's going to have to keep his range. I mean, Anthony Pettis is like a sniper. You know, he's got to keep that range, and then he finds you from a distance and cracks you and hurts you, and Khabib's more like a bulldozer, and he's just going to put pressure on him. But if he does clinch up, you know, Pettis is going to have to knee him. He's going to have to dirty box him, elbows, hurt him, cut him. Try to cut him a lot, actually, because he's got to stop it. Khabib's a monster for those 5 rounds.
Okay, so betting man, anybody here taking Pettis?
I always take the underdog, and I think that Pettis is actually the underdog on this one.
Mm-hmm. So
I like taking the underdogs. Yeah.
So if you're a betting man, you would
$20.
$20?
No more than
20 bucks. $20. There you go. All right, so let's then go to the female fight, and I'm going to butcher these names for crying out loud. It's Joanna. Oh, God, I knew that was
Jacek.
Yeah. Jacek versus Rose Namajunas.
Yeah.
Now, Rose defeated Joanna previously for the strawweight belt, and something similar going to happen in this fight, do you think, or what are we looking at?
I don't see it something similar. I think being able to train with or fight against somebody the next time you fight with them, it's a different story. Very, very rarely is it the same type of story. I still think that Rose is going to win. She's a beast and a half, and I had her for this fight as well, for the first fight.
The previous one?
Yeah, and I think that she's a tough girl that that knows how to beat Joanna. Joanna's an amazing chick, but she needs her spacing, she needs her timing, and Rose.
Obviously, she disrupted that in the last fight because she knocked her once, and then a little bit later she knocked her out. What do you got, Isaac?
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fight. They're so skilled and they're so highly skilled. It can go either way. But what a lot of people don't realize is with a lot of losses, it's not the thing that went wrong. It's the things that went wrong. Like there's multiple variables because there's a lot of things that contribute to our training, our lives, and anything disrupts it. When you have a bunch of things disrupted, it's hard to focus, hard to get done.
Well, one of the bigger things that I saw with Joanna when the fight was over, and all the post-fight interviews and everything else leading up to this one, she blamed pretty much everybody but her.
Yes.
She was blaming her, like the big blame was apparently going on the nutritionist to try to, stay at weight, and she wasn't having the proper diet. She was truly passing blame. That's something that concerns me for somebody who should be a champion. You shouldn't be passing blame for your loss. Unless it's something glaring, or am I wrong?
You can always find a thing to fix, but in public, I wouldn't blame any of those other people. When in my losses, I look at what I did wrong. And what I've done, You're not
going to blame me for your loss?
No.
I'll take it. I'll take the heat. You can say that you're losing training because, you're laughing at this idiot in the corner who doesn't know what he's doing. I'm perfectly cool with that.
My thing is that you gotta, even if it was the nutritionist's fault in that aspect, she's still a grown woman that has fought however many times and defended her belt how many times. Mm-hmm. If you should know some of what is going on, and if there's a major change in your nutrition from the last time to this time, why, and all this. She's still a grown woman. She should know what she needs to do.
Mm-hmm. So. You ever blame anybody, Isaac?
Girlfriends mostly. But no, she as long as she acknowledges what she needs to do. It really doesn't matter what comes out of her mouth. Mm-hmm. If she acknowledges, okay, I should have done this, and then she fixes it.
In her own head.
Yeah, she needs to fix those things. And she could also be playing the media. Yeah. She could be, because Rose is very smart. Rose is a very smart girl. She listens to her interviews. So she's very analytical. She's gonna listen to what she says, and if she's complaining and she's showing that non-champion mindset, she's gonna see some weakness. But Joanna could be fainting. She could be, putting it out there just to figure out. Mm-hmm. So they do that.
Well, we do have a suggestion here for a possible fight for Khabib. Frank, who was the reason that I ended up at Guerrilla MMA, he says Isaac could easily take on Khabib. So, would you open?
That'd be open. That's a lot of money. I'm down. I don't think I'd make the weight. Pretty far off.
Okay, so we'll go back to this whole thing with Conor McGregor. What the hell's going on? There was a quote from Brendan Schaub earlier where he said everything McGregor does is calculated. He's trying to set this up as an Ireland versus Russia thing between himself and Khabib. This was a calculated move on his part to try to set up the big super fight between him and Khabib. Where other people are thinking, hey, this was staged. I don't think this could be staged when you had fighters who got hurt when that dolly ended up going through the window. I don't see that at all.
I don't think he's that bright.
Who, Conor?
Conor. To be able to look at it, I can make a super fight this way. I don't think he's that bright. Mm-hmm. I really don't. I think he just is the retard that he's always been, and he's now rich and famous, and people notice him, so now his stupidities are getting even...
It's on full display. It's ending up on TMZ.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, right or not, I'm sure he has smart people working for him.
Yes.
But even if it was calculated, they must have gone too far because now you're looking at multiple lawsuits.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, they know he's loaded. So I mean, they're gonna go for blood.
Look at all the money he made on the Mayweather fight. I mean, they're going to go directly towards it because you got the fighters who are hurt, who aren't sure if they're going to get paid because they're not going to be able to fight. There's the guys who are supposed to, other than Pettis, there's a guy who was supposed to fight. The other fighter that got hurt. There was the guy from McGregor's group that he was supposed to fight tomorrow, but he got the boot because he was involved with everything, not because he got hurt because of his involvement. So you got all these fighters who are basically looking to make a payday now at this point because you prevented me from making my payday because now I can't fight tomorrow night. So at this point, what does Dana White do with Conor McGregor? He's obviously a big payday. We were talking about it on the show earlier this morning with Buzz. Buzz could not care less about mixed martial arts. He just doesn't care about it. But with this, like him watching the video of Conor taking the dolly and throwing it to the window and like all of that footage that came out, he's never been more intrigued with mixed martial arts. So for the UFC, obviously it's a big payday because it's going to get more people's interest sparked. Where, what do you do? Do you keep a guy like this around? Because if you don't, he's going to jump over to Bellator.
He's a moneymaker.
If he wants to.
Dana White's not dumb, and he's done some interviews where he's saying he's disgusted and this and that. And I mean, you can be disgusted with your employees, but if they're making you money and they're doing their job, that's really what matters.
He fought with Tito Ortiz constantly.
Yeah, and that's just that. I mean, they're gonna play it off. You're gonna see it in the highlights later on, and they are gonna build it up. That's just the only loss it looks like is going to be the lawsuits from Conor McGregor, but they're so good at spinning things and they're so good at manipulating, the media and everything, so that they can create a show.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people want is they want the show.
Yeah, and that's what it's doing for the UFC, and that's what's making them a ton of money by putting Conor McGregor, who's now become more of a spectacle than a fighter at this point. I mean, he was a guy who went on a terrific run, knocking out some amazing people to go on this run, and then he capitalized on that, and now his name has become bigger than, I would say, the UFC at this point because more people know what the hell's going on when you're ending up on TMZ every damn time. And then Frank also mentions the whole IRA incident that, went down in Ireland where, they apparently beat up some member of the IRA over in Ireland. And so anyway, do you see McGregor fighting in the UFC again? Because there have been talks about it.
Yeah, I think so. And if he gets sued enough that he doesn't have a lot of money left over,
he's going to have to. He's going to take any fight he can.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other fight that really took a backseat to all this other stuff, Canelo Triple G, got canceled earlier this week. It was supposed to happen Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. Canelo failed a drug test. Okay, I got to ask you guys as fighters on this. He's blaming tainted meat. Mm-hmm. Is that at all possible?
It's happened before, and other fighters, especially in Mexico, because they give clenbuterol to the cattle to increase their appetites, and then it's contaminated. I don't know the chemistry or the science behind it. Where what?
Well, don't you, Isaac? Come on, man.
I can barely read. No, it's that. I mean, I don't understand exactly how it binds or what's going to happen or how it metabolizes. But other fighters have claimed, and it might just be a bad excuse that other people used. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we don't know, but it's still in the system.
Well, the reports were for Canelo was that he had failed the test. He then took multiple follow-up tests and passed those ones. Uh-huh. So, is that oops, I got caught, now I got to hide it better, or no, this truly was, an accident? And now Triple G has said he's fighting no matter what. They don't know who the opponent is yet, but he's planning on fighting.
You also look at his physique. People grew into his man physique, blah, blah, blah. You look at the difference between a few years ago, Canelo, and now. Mm-hmm. You look at even whenever he fought Austin Trout. Mm-hmm. He does not look like the same guy. There's two different fighters. Mm-hmm. And you can say whatever you want about your nutritionist. I mean, what's his name? It was John Jones saying, well, I didn't know what was in this stuff. Oh.
Isn't it your job to know as a fighter? Like, you should know what you're putting in your body. Yes. Okay.
And if it can't be somebody else's fault to do it. You're the one putting yourself out there. You're the one getting drug tested, not them.
Yeah, nobody's pinning you down, force feeding you these things.
And if you're making that much money, you have yourself a cook and all that type of stuff. Get good meat. You already know that they took.
Get some high quality stuff.
Yeah. Why are you blaming that whenever you know what you can buy and not buy?
Okay, so going back to the first fight. Now, I watched the first Triple G Canelo fight on the Mexican station, so I don't have a clue what they're saying. But according to my fiance and her family, they were claiming that Canelo was winning that fight the whole time. To me, it looked like Triple G was edging out the fight. It looked close. Canelo won some rounds, but it looked like Triple G was doing more of the damage. And then, of course, you have the one scorecard that's drastically different than everybody else's.
She's retired.
I was going to say, because that's not the first time for that judge. I mean, she's been involved in a lot of really crappy scorecards.
Yeah.
So when it comes, as I say, when it comes to stuff like that, can boxing ever get out of its own way in regards to thinking it's corrupt? Because you, as much as people joke about it, as much as people still know it, it still happens, and it's blatant. I mean, it's not even close. It's one thing if you're going to slightly have it, oh, we'll give Canelo this, give him 3 extra points, or, have him win by a slight margin. That was drastically different.
8 points, 9 points.
So is that something wrong with the commission,
Yes.
the promoters,
No,
the boxers?
The commission. That's 100% commission. They might have been paid off by somebody, but they're still, you're a commission person. You're supposed to be above all that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm here to make sure the fight's fair, not make sure this person wins.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're a judge, you should be fair, not worrying about, I like this person more. It's who hit more, who hit more power, who all the rules of
Damage, stuff like that.
control of the ring, all that type of stuff. And you looked at the numbers on it. You look at how many times Canelo threw, how many times Triple G threw, who landed the most.
Mm-hmm.
Triple G did.
Mm-hmm.
They have all the stats, and then it's like, how did you say that he lost?
Yeah, to me it looked close, but I still would have given the fight to
I thought it was close.
Well, Canelo made a strategic mistake. He was trying to be a little Mayweather-ish, and he was trying to get on his bike and be defensive and use that Philly shell to roll punches and everything. But he's not Mayweather.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have his footwork. He doesn't have his ability. He has great upper body movement, but he should have baited him, stayed in the pocket, and tried to counter and stay in there. And he would tag him in there. He wouldn't hurt him very much, but he would tag him and he would score points.
Mm-hmm.
But he had the wrong game plan towards the end there too.
All right, so Isaac, now we got to talk to you a little bit here. What was your best moment in a fight? Whether it be mixed martial arts, anything.
Man, that's wow. I guess off the top of my head, I fought my first pro fight without knowing it was a pro fight, and I found out it was a 5-minute round right before the fight started. Like, as the ref was the one, all right, this is a 5-minute round. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So I wasn't ready for that, and I fought Chino. I fought a really tough opponent who actually had a lot of experience at that time, and we were going back and forth. He had my back, I would reverse it, and there was one point where he had me, and really my only instinct was just to stand up, and it wasn't the best technique, but I just stood up and threw him off and got on top, and it was one of those points where I was about to lose. Like, I was about to lose that fight, and then I came back, and I ended up losing anyways. But that's my shoulder dislocated, but that was later. But it was just one of those things where that's when I think I realized that I'm cut out for this.
Mm-hmm.
There was all this adversity, and it was not easy, and it was not. It was fun. But a lot of other people wouldn't consider it fun, but at that moment, that's I felt that realization that, like, okay, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
It was an enlightening moment.
All right, so as we wrap things up here, we'll go with the 2 main card fights tomorrow night. Who you got, Joanna or Rose?
Rose,
Joanna or Rose?
Rose.
So you're both saying she's going to defend?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then so I guess at this point we're going to say it's going to be Anthony Pettis versus Khabib. You still an underdog guy?
I like the underdog. I'm going to go for Pettis, but I don't believe he's going to win.
Okay, so you believe your prediction is going to be for Khabib, but you're rooting for Pettis.
Yeah, if Clay Guida could hold down Pettis and
Yeah.
smash him like that, Khabib's gonna. Yeah.
Okay, better question. Do you see it getting out of the first round?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see it lasting the full length, or just a few rounds and then it's going to end up stopping by?
Khabib goes by grind.
Mm-hmm.
So he grinds and wears you down, wears you down, wears you down. He's not flashy enough to stop it in the first round, in my opinion. He goes and grinds until you just wore out.
Mm-hmm.
So I see it third, maybe fourth round.
Okay, same thing.
Yeah, maybe a little bit sooner, just because Khabib can. I mean, he might get a KLAQ or something, and just break his arm. But yeah, it's not gonna be the first.
All right, and before we wrap up, Isaac, one more time, Gorilla MMA. If anybody wants to call you, hit you up.
915-920-0517 or get to our Instagram page, Gorilla MMA.
You can also message me on our Facebook page, on our Instagram page, or anything, because it's where I go and train with these hooligans out there. So you go ahead and hit me up straight up, and you go out to Gorilla MMA. You got another fight lined up for when?
June 30th, I'll be fighting in Alamogordo. I'm fighting a Indian.
Okay.
Feather Indian, not Dutch.
Okay.
And I'm excited for it. It'll be a good fight. I'll be fighting on the base there, on the Air Force Base in one of the hangars.
Okay. And it's going to be the same thing for tickets. People contact you for the tickets. Are tickets available yet, or is that soon?
I should have them by May 1st.
Okay. Well, then I think that shortly
months.
after that, we'll need to have you guys in again.
Cool.
If you want to come,
Of course.
by.
Of course I do.
If you'd like.
Maybe I can meet Buzz and teach him why he should really like him.
We can go kick his ass down the hallway. We can go run, bro.
That would be my hug.
On that note, we're going to call this good. And so, one more time, who you got? Joanna? Rose?
And
You want?
I want Pettis, but I don't think he's going to win.
And you're going with?
I want to think Khabib's gonna win. I like that guy.
Okay. All right, and we'll see you guys next time.